Okay, starting to make the promised brew this weekend, which has taken me so long to get around to doing. Cooper's Draught. I'm mixing this one with brew enhancer. You can turn your TV back on, Steph. It's going to be a bit of background noise. It's a full house, it's pretty cold and everyone's downstairs today. So, never used this one before. It recommends to make it with brew enhancer 2, which is what I've got. I wanted to make it with 3 because I've never tried it before, and I do like sort of more malt in my beers, but this is what they had, so this is what I'm using. The whole kit cost about 20 bucks, give or take, from Woolies, because I didn't want to go driving anywhere. So let's take it apart. I'm going to be making it with the kit yeast today. Nothing too unusual there. Just rip that off. Chuck it over here, with a mess going on in the kitchen. Alright, first things first, never really bothered to show you this before, but sterilizing. Make sure you sterilize your kit before use. So I've got the tap sitting in there at the moment, and the stick mixing, whatever the hell you call it. Let's chuck that back on there. Alright, so I'm just going to give this a quick shake. It's been sitting in the sterilizer for about 20 minutes or so. Just give it a good shake, and that should be fine. I sterilised it after I cleaned it last time anyway. This is just a little extra work. Chuck that there. Just take that out and tip it down the sink. Too easy. Yeah, I've never had an issue with contaminated beer before. This is pretty much what I do every single batch. Okay. Can opener. I don't know what this Masters of the Brewverse thing's about. Have your beer brewed by Coopers and sold at Dan Murphy's. Well, that's interesting. Anyway. Let's get into this. Open it up first. Now, what I'm going to do, because I'm only literally making a kit and kilo today, I'm not doing anything fancy, I'm not doing any boils, I'm not putting any hops in, because I didn't buy any. What's new? Let's get all this stuff over here. Now, what I should do, I mean, I gave it a good sterilise anyway, but sterilizer in here as well. I'll just give this a little spray before I use it, just in case it's not quite 100% clean. Should be good to go.
Good morning, dear.
Alright, now sometimes people mix up with boiling water in here. Not a bad idea because this stuff is very goopy, but what I will be doing instead of that, because I don't want to put too much boiling water in because I don't have any cold water, but hopefully given the weather we've got today, it shouldn't be too much for a problem. Hey Steph, I think Belle needs help. So she's got a little one on the toilet by the sound of it, which I would help her, but I'm busy and I'm filming and I can't be bothered to take cuts. I'm going to do a single cut. So boiling up a couple of litres of water, which I'll use to pour into the tin to get all the leftover stuff out, but I'll also just put whatever's left in the bottom. 2 litres of boiling water is fine for a batch. Like I was saying, it's pretty cold at the moment here in Sydney. I mean, cold's relative. Anyone from North America or somewhere where it actually gets cold will probably laugh at us. The wind is a bit chilly, but it's probably only about maybe 10 degrees. I don't know. It's not that bad. I really should just go out and spend time in it because I'm going to New Zealand in a few months' time in springtime in the mountains, so that will be actually cold. I should start getting used to it. Alright, so we've got most of the stuff that's going to come out easily, so let's just tip some of this goop out. And I don't know if you're right-handed or left-handed. I'm right-handed, and this is a stupid idea to start with the stick in my left hand because I can't control it. So let's get the right hand out. Tell you what, filming with this GoPro is a lot easier than using the phone. I can actually go through the whole process of putting this together. instead of just filming a little bit at the end after I've done something. And look at all that goop. Now, there's a lot more in there, but I might just wait until I've got the water in there before I put some more. So get some of this crap out there. Should have boiled the water before I got on the phone, before I started the whole process. But it doesn't matter. Hopefully that won't give me an issue. Now, if you've done these Cooper's batches before, you'll notice that they actually have instructions inside the labels on these tins. Now, you're not going to learn anything from them, to be honest. They're not that informative. But let's open it up, have a look. We'll see what this one says. So basically, clean it up, mix it with 2 litres of water, add recommended ingredients, top with hot or cold water to 23 litres between 21 and 27 degrees. I have no doubt that I'll have any trouble getting it at that temperature today, based on the weather. And I'm sure the tap water is going to come out nice and cold. This one should be, let's see, original gravity should be about 1038. I'm making this to the kit recipe, so I should get about 1038. I usually mix them to 22.5 litres, just to sort of make them a little bit smaller batches, and when I bulk prime I use about 200, 300 mils of water anyway, so it kind of mixes it up to 23 litres. Just waiting for this water to go through. But you know what, in the meantime I'm just going to use some cold water to start mixing stuff up. This was pre-sterilised. It's actually been sitting in the garage for about probably 2 or 3 months now. That's how long I've had this water sitting there. Alright. You know what I should get, and what I recommend anyone else gets? Some sort of hose that you can just attach to your tap and pour it into your fermenter. Because this is an absolute pain in the backside using bottles or jugs to top up your beer. Reese, shut the door! We have a cat, she does like to escape if the door doesn't get shut. Just trying to reduce the angle of pour. If you go too fast, stuff tends to jump out. I'm trying to avoid that. Nice brownie I made the other day. It's quite yummy actually, and I might have some after lunch. So yeah, just giving it a nice good stir. This is cold water, so it's not going to mix quite as good as had I put hot water in. Probably should have waited, but I got impatient and thought I wanted to start mixing. Just mix for a bit. What can be easier, put it on the ground and do your mixing. Now hopefully my tap is closed. That would be a bit of a mistake to leave that open. Nothing seems to be dripping out at least, and the water line has gone over the tap, so should be no worries. So mix, 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 mix. What, Reese? I don't know. Your scooter's fine, mate. Alright, probably have to help them after I do this batch. Such is brewing when you have kids, young kids, and they are good, but oh man, if you have 20 minutes to yourself, ever, at any point in the day, you're gonna say that's a miraculous day right there. And that's all I'm using today. I'm just doing a kit batch. They don't take any time, basically, to make. So they're good for people that are short on time, short on ideas, short on FUCKs. Alright, water is boiled. Let's fill up this can here, so that'll liquefy whatever's left in here. Let it sit for a couple of minutes. Don't do what I did the first time I did that and just go and grab the can. You will burn yourself. Use a towel or something when you actually do pick up the can, because believe it or not, steel conducts heat. It's already boiling hot. Alright. This is mixing quite well now. Got most of the goop seems to have mixed into the water. Once I've done this part, I'm going to chuck in the brew enhancer too and mix that up as well. Got plenty of water now to get everything all mixed together. There we go. Don't be afraid to mix it quite violently. In fact, the harder you mix it, the better it's going to be honest. At this point anyway, especially when you're doing these kit batches. Alright, now you can see the sides, that goop is just basically started to drip down, so that's already quite loosened up by the hot water. So,
sorry, I can't help with that yet.
Google. That machine is evil. I didn't even say Google when it talked to me. Okay, let's tip this in. Got all the gunk out, you can sort of see a little bit dripping out still. Yeah, I'm not too Nazi about how much goop I get. That's good enough. Mix it around. Alright, brew enhancer 2. In hindsight, I probably should have put this in first. It's been a while since I've done a batch, and I think I usually put the dry stuff in first. Honestly, usually I'm using liquid malt extract, so I don't use this stuff too often these days. But I tend to find that if you put the dry stuff in with the liquid like this, you tend to get a bit more lumps. And it's a bit of a, it's not harder, but it just takes a little bit longer to mix it all up properly. Alright, so that is in. Just mix it all in. Now these brew enhancers, because they're mostly dextrose, things like 50% dextrose, something like that. I know I've seen a recipe online somewhere. So it's pretty easy to mix in. It really doesn't lump up too much. When you're using dry malt extract, it will lump up, almost certainly. It's not a huge problem. It does dissolve out over the fermentation process. But it may potentially give you an incorrect initial gravity reading just because of the density of the stuff. Don't know if it'll give you a lower reading or a higher reading, but or even if it's even material. But that's about the only real issue you may come across there. So you may get a potentially wrong alcohol content calculation. Nothing really too bad to worry about. Alright. We now have all our fermentables in and mixed. This is going to be a bit difficult. Let's see if we can just get a bit of water in before we have to worry about using the bottle. Doing it the lazy bugger way. Just pouring it in, making sure I don't drop everything, because that would be a real shame at this point. Not only for the lost beer, but for the cleanup. I really don't want to be doing that. Just pouring water in. You're going to be going up to 22.5 litres, which is there. I won't be able to do the whole thing like this because I can't really get this on a better angle to put the water in without taking it off the bench, and I'm not going to be holding 20 odd kilos of water because I don't trust myself. Yeah, pouring it in, it's nice and warm. The thermometer says 28, that wouldn't be right because it hasn't really, the water hasn't covered the whole thing. So I'm expecting this to probably come down to around 25 after I've got all the water topped up. And that'll be fine to put the yeast in at that point. This, I've mentioned in other videos, this Cooper's yeast is resilient stuff. It does not. Oh, I think I've got that perfect. Alright. Yeah, anyone's thinking about a GoPro, I know a couple of people ask me about it, but you can use your phone as well to sort of start the recording and all that stuff, so it works pretty good. Alright. So we only got about half of what we need doing that, so the rest of it we're going to have to do the boring way. Topping it up by the bottle. Beer, in case anyone mistakes it for anything else. Now I've been bottling some like crappy batches in Pepsi bottles and Coke bottles. That's something I probably should write beer on, because I've put them in the fridge before and sometimes they do kind of look like a bottle of Pepsi or Coke. Just because it's dark liquid, it's in a Pepsi bottle and it's in the fridge. Now, the kids aren't going to drink it because they don't drink soft drink anyway, but the wife might potentially accidentally pour some beer. She doesn't like beer. She's actually allergic to it, go figure. Sulfates. So yeah, she can't drink beer. It doesn't hurt, it just makes her rash up pretty bad. And look at that, we're already at 26 degrees. Fantastic. Just keep going. Probably going to need about 7 or 8 bottles full to fill it up. Kids out there having fun, it's good. Those two have been sick for the last few weeks, so it's good to see them getting a bit more energy. Number 3's upstairs at the moment sick, so what can you do? Okay. 10 minutes in. This part's not very entertaining, obviously. So I'm filling up the boredom with me rambling about stupid stuff. I can't even tell what that is. 15? Should turn the light on. It's the middle of the day, but hey, let's put some light on. Now, I didn't even have a beer ready to drink while I'm brewing. Usually that's a good thing, have a beer while you're brewing. I put a couple of beers in the fridge about an hour ago, which probably aren't off-drinkable. In fact, given that they've been out in the cold garage, they might be drinkable, and hey, before we go any further, I think it would be prudent to crack one open. Just because we can. When you get this much, this is when it's more important to pour carefully so you don't spill crap everywhere. Okay, let's go. Let's have a beer while we're waiting. Okay. Yeah, it's drinkable. Probably a little bit too warm, but why not? This is my Stone & Wood Pacific Ale clone, which is not really much of a clone in hindsight. I did test it against the Stone & Wood and the difference is very noticeable. Yeah, not a good pour there. This one didn't give me much head. One I had last night, right to the rim, it's beautiful. This particular one, not so good. Just my usual process. Reuse the bottle. Let's have a sip. That is way too warm. Who cares? It is beer. Alright, let's keep filling up. Yeah, bit of a hint. I'm sure everyone knows already, but if you're really thirsty and you don't want to wait, chuck a beer in the freezer for about half an hour. Comes out great. Now I know with Homebrew people recommend you sort of refrigerate it for about 24 to 48 hours to let the yeast settle. Honestly, I've never really noticed much of a difference. If it's a heavier batch, like a dark beer, yeah, it kind of does help to actually let it settle. These light beers, that one there is only 3.5%. It's a very clear beer. It's like, hang on, I'll show you the clarity in 2 seconds. I don't honestly feel I get much difference in flavour, taste, texture, anything by just drinking quick frozen beer. Look at that. Don't know if you can see that. That is just... That's a beautiful beer. And it does taste nice. Even though it's a little flat and not quite cold enough. Alright, we're at about 19, 18 litres, so only about another 2 or 3 of these and we're done. It's a Saturday morning here, Saturday the 20-something of June, 22nd I believe. I just had a soccer game with my son this morning, quite cold, no sun. He had a nice sausage sandwich after the game though, which is always a bonus. Alright, so this is actually my 16th or 17th batch of beer since I started homebrewing back in September last year. So we put a few batches down. 20. Alright, so I need 2.5 more litres, so 2 more of these and we're done. Yeah, I actually use an app on my phone called Brew Tracker, and in there you can put all the details in of your beer, your gravity readings, your recipe, what kind of beer it is, how, and even when you bottle it up, it'll tell you how many stubbies, how many long necks, how many kegs should you be kegging. It also has an option for taste testing and rating your beers. So it's an easy way to track what you've done, and it also assigns a number to each batch, so this will be whatever the next number is. And then what I do is I just write the numbers on the lids, like that. That's 13, so you know which is which. It doesn't work when you use PET bottles, and if you don't actually label them somehow you may get confused. I've got one batch in there which I'm actually not sure what it is, because I didn't bother to label it. And I didn't put a little bit of paper or note or something in front of it saying what it is, because I figured I wouldn't forget. But I did. So, don't do what I do. That's why I do these videos, so people don't do as stupid mistakes I make. Anyway. So this should finish this batch off. Dance my way. I don't know if anyone's a Simpsons fan, but that song reminds me of the Simpsons every time. Look at that, 22.75 litres. Perfect. Good enough. Final stir. Nice little, look at all that foam on top there. If only my beers came out like that when I poured them. 22 degrees. That is one of the coldest batches I made without actually making any attempt to make it cool. Done. Yeast time. Alright. Look at that. Nice dry yeast in there. Nice and simple. All I do, every batch, I just do the same process. I just tip it in like that. Unless I'm using like a cultured yeast, which I've only done twice. If I'm just using dry yeast, do that. Problem solved. In the bin this goes. So we were looking for a gravity of 1038. What I didn't get out was my gravity thing. Hydrometer. Where is it? It's in here somewhere. Models I'm trying to paint, not very successfully. I'm going to make room for the fermenter anyway. Alright, so just pour it a little bit out first just to sort of clear the tubes. I think I saw that on my first how to brew video and I've done it ever since because makes sense. Right, and let's fill her up to about that, about 3/4 full. Spin it around. So remember we're looking for 1038. Given I made a little less water in there, I don't know what it's going to look like. It's bubbles. Fucking bubbles. I'd say that's 103, 103.7 maybe.
Thank you.
Loosen that up a bit. 1038. Fuck it. Let's call it 1038. Shouldn't be any less than. I love that taste. I know it's very sweet and like drinking a tube of malt, but I love it. Alright, you can get washed. We're done. 1038. Let's chuck our collar in. Honestly, I don't know if you need to use that. I've used it every time, but all it really does is just give you an extra finger clean in the end. Having said that, when the krausen rises, it does actually stick to the collar, which makes cleaning the whole setup a bit easier because you're just cleaning the collar. The rest of it all just comes off naturally. Chuck the lid on, ye old lid. We are done. We're ready. So, well, I can't show you that because my phone's got. There we go. Brew tracker. Alright, so this is the thing I use. So I'm just going to start this bottle here. Start. Let's call it Cooper's Draught. 22nd of June. Type of beer. Draught, whatever the hell they've actually done with it. I'm assuming it's a lager of some sort, but we'll see. 1038. Recipe as per kit. You can put any details in you want here. BE2. Brew Enhancer 2. Lazy Saturday Brew. Add. Once you bottle it, you go in here to put your bottling details. You can sample a beer, you can rate a beer, or you can just look at all your batches by going in here and you'll have everything. So I've still got my IPA aging. It's got another week or so before I'm going to try that one. And now I've got the draft fermenting. And that's it. So go out there, make a beer. I'd like to see your guys' videos. I know I've got a few people who on this channel that have commented, and I know a couple of guys make their own beers, so I'd love to see videos. Yeah, just make them. I'll have a look at yours and let's just share our process, I guess. Anyway, enjoy your day. Talk to you later.